Hello, this is Ian McDermott, Executive Director of Wakefield Community Access Television. Thank you for joining us. Today we are going to be talking with John Shagoury, the new CEO of the Boys and Girls Club of Metro North. John, hello.
How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm well, thank you.
Excellent.
Excited to be here.
Excellent. Now, you are the most recent person in the position of CEO for the Boys and Girls Club.
Yes.
You are following Adam.
Yes.
Who had a long and distinguished career.
10 years. Adam
Yes.
was there 10 years.
He did indeed. So let's talk first a bit about your history. Now, I know you started off at Lotus.
Yes.
Excellent. So tell me a little bit of how the progression from Lotus to, I know, a couple of healthcare companies to now this.
Yeah, my whole career was really in software and technology, serving various markets, including healthcare. I've been either president or CEO of a company for the last 30 years. And had a wonderful career, learned a lot, went through the good times, the bad times. Most of the companies that I went into, my charter was to drive growth in the company, expand an asset that already existed and really kind of help it flourish to its full potential. And in June of last year, I decided to retire. I had kind of had enough of the corporate life, but I'm not a golfer or anything like that. I really wanted to volunteer a lot and do things to help youth. And so I started doing some volunteering for organizations like Junior Achievement. I did some volunteering for some local colleges. I had reached out to a couple of the Boys and Girls Clubs to do some volunteering, but that didn't work out. And then, interestingly enough, I got a call out of the blue from a recruiter from Boys and Girls Club America down in Atlanta. They were doing this search to replace Adam. I don't know how they found me or what kind of criteria they put into their search, but I found it very intriguing because I really wanted to kind of spend this next chapter of my life impacting youth in a positive way. So I told them right up front, I have zero nonprofit experience, but I'm very interested if they want to talk. So it was kind of a 2-month process of conversations and interviews and presentations and, me and a number of other candidates. And ultimately I was fortunate enough to get chosen, got the offer, and I've been on board a little over 2 months now.
And what's it like so far?
It's very different than what I've done in my career in a number of ways, because I'm dealing with so many different types of things I've never had to deal with before. The good thing is I've got a really great team, and it's exactly kind of what I hoped it would be, right? Doing things every day that really think about how do you help the youth, how do you help the community, how do you help all the families in the community, how do you continue to strengthen relationships and do things that just kind of move it all forward. When I think about youth, I think about, we all see what's happening in the country and in the world, and I think it's really hard today to change the thinking and the behavior of a 30-year-old person. But if you can capture a 12 to 15-year-older and really be kind of part of their development, part of their outlook in life, part of how they address issues and challenges and frustrations and provide them the right kind of environment, I think we can have a positive impact on the next generation. Excellent.
So you've been there for 2 months, so 60 days. Typical question, what are you planning to do in the first 90? Are you like just taking assessment, or are there some things that you definitely want to see starting to happen?
Certainly a lot of it is assessing and learning, right? And a big piece of the assessment is listening, right? Really understanding, to understand what I don't know about that world of nonprofit. A lot of my kind of business instincts remain very relevant, but the way you have to do things in nonprofit is very different, right? I've made a couple of key hires in areas that we didn't have slots before that I think will help us build a foundation. And we've already started to take action that way, right? Starting to think about what we want to do in the fall that might be different to enhance the offerings across the communities.
Yeah, and you have an amazing staff. I've worked with many of them
Yeah.
over the course of the years. We do a number of projects with the Boys and Girls Club here at the station. So what are your thoughts for the staff that you have? You're going to add on, as you've said, some new key elements to that. Are you looking for a big or reorganization, or is it more of a tweaking and placing finer points?
Yeah, there's no big reorganization. No. I think a lot of reorganization and what I would call kind of upgrading of talent has happened in the last 18 months before I got here. Mm-hmm. So that we have a really solid team in place, very experienced, very dedicated. A lot of it is about getting the right people in the right seats, and I think we've got that. So the couple of positions I hired are positions that didn't exist before, but are important for our ability to kind of continue to grow the organization. So from that perspective, I think we have a strong talent roster at the leadership, down at the club level and everything like that. And now it's just kind of helping them figure out what's most important to them, in the groups that they're responsible for to kind of drive higher involvement, higher daily average attendance, satisfaction from the parents that, their children are in a good place and getting what they hope out of it, etc.
Yes. I would say that my son, when he went through the program, when he was much younger, he thoroughly enjoyed all of it, and he enjoyed the interaction with the people that were there. So much so that we had gotten a cat, and he had named it after one of the people there.
Oh, wow, that's so great.
So it was Riley, I believe was the name.
That's good.
But in keeping with community, now, as I believe this particular Boys and Girls Club was founded by a number of community members. Yes. Wakefield has been well known for its community involvement in things. Mm-hmm. What are your plans there for increasing this community involvement?
Well, it's important to understand from the town's perspective, and the town is both the town officials, it's the parents, where there's need and where we can be of help, right? So obviously the teen center is a very big attraction, gets a lot of activity. And, the fact that we're able to expand the programs there and have things like the music program, have things like the esports program, the art program there, the gym, I think is really great. We run the boating program on the lake in the summer so that people can take out kayaks and learn how to kayak and enjoy themselves there is important. Supporting the community as well. So the daycare offering, if there's a nighttime town meeting and employees and
I know that's a favorite one.
Yeah. And then, I'm really excited about the Inspire Cafe that we opened on Main Street.
An amazing feat. We covered that when it first came open, and it was snowing that day, and there was so many people outside to listen to everybody. It was amazing.
And it's doing well. I will tell you that I try to have at least one meeting a week there, whether it's an interview or a meeting, just because I like to show my support, but I love to show it off.
Yes.
And it's really starting to grow. And we have right now 24, we call them intellectually and developmentally disabled employees on the payroll. And we have another 100 on the waiting list that would love to work here. So we're looking at ways we can expand that offering, right? We do slush carts at the local farmers markets. We just opened a coffee cart site at the Medford Public Library. We're starting to get a few requests for some catering, basic breakfast and lunch catering. So to me, that's a big mission just because of the positive impact it has, not only those folks who need to work, but I think it just helps to teach and reinforce the whole concept of inclusion to the whole community. You go in there and you just watch as people go up to the counter and order. And it takes a few minutes longer for your sandwich to get made than if you're in a Panera, but nobody gets upset about it. Nobody, is cranky because the service isn't fast enough. They're there in support of the mission of that.
Well, that's the thing. And they have a great frittata. That was always my favorite.
Oh, I love that frittata.
And just the smile on the face when you walk in, and the exuberance of them wanting to do their job.
It's just so fulfilling for them.
It makes me feel better in the morning than if I were to have stopped at McDonald's.
Yeah,
it really
100%,
does.
100%.
It really does. So you have a lot of things that are going to be going on. What's kind of the has there been any difficulties in implementing any of this? Are you running into obstacles with either organizational change or just getting the resources that you need? You are a 501c3, so there's always that need for further funding.
Yes, funding is it's complicated, right? If you think about our business, a big piece of our funding comes from program revenue. People that sign up for summer camp, sign up for after-school programs. But we still rely on government grants, and we still rely a lot on donors, small and large, right, who want to give. And as part of that, for them to continue to give, it's important for us to show them the impact that their donations have. So we're always looking at ways to increase that so that we can increase the capacity of the things we're looking to do. We have investigated maybe adding an additional facility in Wakefield so that we could expand things like the after-school program, maybe run some other kinds of programs. So that's unlikely to happen in the next 12 months in terms of anything open, but there are a couple of sites we're in discussions about, right? So any kind of advancement and growth there that would happen. And then some of the neighboring towns. We run the Hall Memorial Pool, which is over in Stoneham, but is open to all the communities. We have a fair amount of folks from Wakefield that take advantage of that as well. That pool's getting a whole remodel at the end of the season, and already a nice facility, be much nicer come next season as well. And so that's kind of where we are. I think there are programs that exist today, like the music program and the esports program in particular, that are about ready for expansion. Like the esports program in Wakefield is great. There's 12 stations there. There's some other technology, and it's really not about playing esports. It's more about understanding how to work as a team, right? How to manage conflict, how to think about strategy, and it's become very successful. But it's basically, sold out is the wrong word, but basically every day is completely filled with more kids that want to play, right? When the parents realize, as they have, that it's not just sending my kid to play video games after school, but they're learning social skills and they're learning creative thinking skills, it's getting a lot of support. So there's an area where, I would look to say if we could double the number of stations, we could easily fill it up and do things like that.
Yeah. So we would every year. What was his name? Jonathan? Not Jonathan.
Yes.
Yeah, John. We would collaborate with him where we would actually televise one of their matches, and all the kids would get excited about being on YouTube, and telling all their friends, and all their family would link in, and it really does give a boost to somebody to think that what they're doing is being viewed by other people.
Yes.
So that boost of confidence for these kids, can you clarify that just a little bit more for some people who may be wondering whether joining or having their kids go to the club is really going to give them that?
I think, we do these surveys that Boys and Girls Clubs of America do in general, and some of the things that they capture are, do the students feel they're in a safe environment? Do they feel they're in an environment where they can be themselves, where they can openly communicate with, a counselor? We have mental health counselor available as well, where they feel they can express themselves and be themselves. And consistently, our response rate and our results are above the national average and above the Massachusetts average. So I take a lot of pride in that, and not that I've had anything to do with it yet, but it is one of the things we focus on, right? Do the children feel empowered to speak up, empowered to, comfortable enough to kind of ask questions, comfortable enough to ask for help and guidance. And you know, it really goes a lot to the type of people you hire, right? The counselors that you hire, and really understanding what makes a good counselor, right? I mean, it's got to be just deep down there. You know, the folks that try to take a job because they think, oh, it's an easy job, or just sit around and watch the kids play all day. Those
Not
folks,
true.
Yeah,
Not
no,
true.
it's not true at all, and they don't last, right? And the kids, even without saying it, just by watching the kids, you'll know which counselors are the real strong ones, which ones are the informal leaders, which ones, you know, do they feel they can go to with issues. And so I think from that perspective, a lot of parents, when they pick out, the parents I've spoken to a reasonable amount of parents, they really feel their kids get a lot out of it. You know, it's important for the parents too to know that there's a safe place for their kids to go after school, especially if you're if the household has both parents working full time, or if it's a single parent household and that single parent has to hold down a full-time job, to know after school the kid's not just hanging out in a corner with the opportunity to get into trouble because they're bored, right? The fact that they've got a place to go with a structured program, somebody who knows who they are. It was really fascinating. Before I even started, I went on kind of a tour of some of the sites, and one of them was the Wakefield Teen Center, which is right across from the middle school.
Yep.
And the woman who works the front desk for us, who's retired and loves what she does, I was standing there watching her as school got out, and literally 60 kids came in the course of 5 minutes, and she knew every one of them by name.
Yep.
And not only did she know any one of them by name, but she could tell if one of them was having a bad day. And she could kind of pull them aside and say, hey, is everything okay? What's going on? And, you know, which to me is just so valuable to the relationship that the kids have with the club. Yep. Right? And then our ability to make sure parents are aware of anything that we might see that they want to address at home, too.
Yeah, I mean, so often you have, and being a parent myself, I've experienced it, and I believe you're a parent as well, yes?
I'm a parent and a grandparent.
And a grandparent, yes. I have one of those, too. Very often or not, for whatever reason, kids don't necessarily want to tell their parents. Right. But somebody else, they will freely let them know what is going on. And to be able to then have that get to the parent in a manner that can then be used constructively, that's such a huge asset indeed. So you guys are going to be going great guns, of course, in the next 12 months, I'm sure. I know we've touched on so many different future things. Can you just kind of codify them all into a nice list of things that you guys are looking at doing?
It's I'd hate to put a list out there because I'm still kind of new in evaluating things. But what I will tell you is kind of at a higher level. So the Boys and Girls Club of Metro North today serves really four or five communities, right? Wakefield and Stoneham being the two big ones. Saugus, Melrose being the ones that we've kind of started to do things in. And so as we think about where we go, I think about growth and expansion as two separate things. So growth is the big one for us, which is what more can we do to grow the average daily attendance and the annual membership in the cities and towns we're already in. So what can we do to serve more of the Wakefield population is a big thing about growth, right? So part of it is capacity. So like I said, if we had an esports room twice the size, I could handle twice the kids there, right? Adding some other new programs. We're always looking at the STEM programs that we offer and what else we could do to expand things around science, technology, et cetera, et cetera. More location space could allow us to handle more after-school programs, right, for the younger kids. Yep. We look at things like, do we want to get into not full-time programs, but things like offering cooking classes or drama classes or other things like that that really require new space, not additional space. Right. So when I think about growth, that's important. What do we do to be able to attract more kids and families to want to be part of what we do on a regular basis. And then expansion is, how do we do more in either some of the towns we've just started to go into, or are there other towns where our services can be needed?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that the concept of an organization just being within the boundaries of a single town really don't seem to apply anymore, do they?
No, they don't.
So
They
it's
don't.
really going to be you guys in all of the surrounding areas helping all of the kids that are there.
And in each town, a big piece of our success is driven by the relationships we have with the local school committees, right? Because every school system is different in terms of what they fund, what they think is important for their children, where they may need help, where they're willing to support us to take on things that maybe they've done in the past. You know, so that's important, and that's something that I'm kind of getting up to speed on.
Yes, yes. I look forward to hearing all of the work that continues to be done both in Wakefield and in our neighboring towns. Well, John, you've got yourself a big job.
Yeah, I'm very excited about it.
I hope this is the retirement you were looking for.
Well, I call it the next chapter, right? This is the chapter about kind of giving back.
Yes,
right?
absolutely.
This is what is important to
absolutely.
me right now.
Well, I am positive that you are going to give back in bucket loads, and this town is going to be very grateful for all of the work that you're going to be doing to help the Boys and Girls Club to grow and expand, as you said.
Yeah, thank you, Ian.
Excellent,
I appreciate it.
John.
I'm looking forward to it.
Well, thank you very much, John.
Okay.
And thank you all for watching. We will see you again next time. Have a good day.